they play the Washington Wizards. This is a back-to-back for the Nets, so they're going to be pretty tired. And they're already 0-2 against the Wizards on the season, and both of their losses were in February, so they are pretty recent. So I don't see Brooklyn winning that game either.
Make that 1-2. I've never been so glad for my dumbass to be wrong as the Sixers get catapulted to the number 5 spot in Tankathon thanks to the Brooklyn Nets surprise win against the Washington Wizards. We got to thank Drew Timm for this one. Let's go over and check out his iconic game winner. Drew Timm might have potential to reach Mike Muscala levels of fame in the city of Philadelphia. If you know, you know. So the Nets and Wizards have been battling it out, but Drew Timm has been balling with the team recently and decided to put in the dagger late in the fourth quarter to help the Nets get the W and sabotage their tank. Drew Timm deserves a statue outside the city of Philadelphia, outside the Wells Fargo Center, if the Sixers end up getting their pick back, and even better, end up selecting Cooper Flagg himself. And you read the title correctly. Since the Sixers got their shit kicked in by the Miami Heat, they are now officially out of the NBA playoff race, as if they weren't already. But believe it or not, in these last couple of months, even though the Sixers have been shamelessly and gloriously tanking, they were never too far out of the play-in tournament. And if they slipped a little bit and go on a bit of a winning streak, then they could have found a way in the play-in tournament and be competing for a playoff spot. But that is over now, since, you got the other teams that were around the Sixers, like the Raptors and the Bulls, going on some win streaks and playing some great basketball. And now the Sixers have built a bit too much of a cushion between those teams, and now they are not in the playoffs, no longer have no chance to make the playoffs, and I'm glad. I'm glad for two reasons, and this is a good thing for the Sixers for two reasons. The first reason is that Sixers fans don't have to go through any heartbreak. We get a break from the NBA playoffs. We've tried 7 years in a row to build around Joel Embiid and help him get to a championship, but that has not worked out, whether it was poor roster construction or Embiid's body failing him. And Embiid's not completely absolved from this either. He has had some pretty terrible playoff performances and does not have the best track record in the postseason, but his body failed him, the Sixers failed him, and now that the Sixers are out of the playoffs once again, they can finally make a clear decision on whether they want to continue with Embiid or finally usher in the next era of Sixers basketball with Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey. And given where the Sixers are at, this is the best thing to happen to them because they got plenty of time now to look at everything that's going on in their organization and clean house. I don't know if Daryl Morey or Nick Nurse are going to stay with the Sixers for next season, given how bad the season has went, with the Paul George and Joel Embiid contracts, and because of those handicaps you have, you won't be able to really build a proper team around Maxey McCain in the future unless you move off of them. But will Daryl Morey's ego allow him to do that? Or are Embiid and Paul George just flat out untradeable? I think Morey, he cleaned up a lot of the messes the Sixers had with Al Horford, getting him away and, getting Ben Simmons off this team. He helped a lot of the Sixers' messes, but he created his own messes in the process. And we have two huge ones with the Joel Embiid contract and the Paul George contract. So will history have to repeat itself where the Sixers replace their general manager who made those moves with another one who would quickly get rid of it and start new? Probably. I don't know if Daryl Morey is going to keep his job given how horrible this roster has looked and with the injury concerns. And, ownership, they know what they're doing. They might not know a whole lot about basketball itself, but they do know business, and they do know that the Sixers fans are just displeased with the product and that the ticket prices have been crumbling. And it reminds me of the process. We have been fully thrusted back into the process era, and I'm kind of overflowing with joy, to be honest, because this is the Sixers that I grew up with. I did not watch, Allen Iverson take his team to the finals, or Charles Barkley, or Dr. J, Moses Malone go to the finals and win a championship? Or did I not see Wilt Chamberlain dominate too? I grew up watching Nick Stauskas and KJ McDaniels try to purposefully lose games, and here we are now with the Sixers fully embracing their tank. And it's like we're back in 2015 all over again, and I'm happy to see it, man. Back then, the crab fries would cost more than the tickets, and even with the Sixers tickets being like below $5, fans are just not going. That arena was empty, and we had fans leaving like midway through the third quarter. I saw Keith Pompey post Sixers fans leaving after the third quarter when they were down 20-plus points. Now, I probably would have done the same thing, but at least back then people would have stayed till like the fourth quarter because the Sixers would be trash, but they would, be fighting and keeping up with the other team and then just kind of blow it at the end, make sure that they were tanking well. But this Sixers team is so atrocious that they had just been getting blown out left and right, whether it's a good team or a bad team. They just cannot compete with anybody whatsoever, and that is what we want to see. We want to see them go 0-15 ever since their loss to the Houston Rockets, that crazy overtime game. If the Sixers can do that, they are for sure going to be able to get that top 5 spot in Tankathon with the Nets winning that game against the Wizards and getting that disadvantage, because the Nets, they could still win some more games. They do play the Pelicans and the Raptors, two pretty trash teams, so who knows? The Sixers and the Nets are both playing the Timberwolves, and the Sixers, I thought they played the Knicks. Why do I not? Oh, I see the Knicks right there, yeah. And speaking of the Knicks, it was recently reported that Tyrese Maxey might come back. I don't have the post up, but yeah, Kai Carlin, shout out to him. He posted that the Sixers were thinking about putting Tyrese Maxey back against the Knicks, but I doubt that, man. I mean, given that the Sixers are not making the playoffs, this is my second reason. They can fully just commit to this tank. I don't know. The NBA, they've never really been good at staying on teams' back when it comes for tanking. They usually just put out like a scare or whatever. Just find a team a couple $100,000. That's, chump change for NBA owners. But, they kind of just come out of nowhere, give a little slap on the wrist. Not even like a slap, just a tap on the wrist, saying, hey, stop doing that. But then these teams keep tanking, and then they realize, oh, crap, we can't do anything to fix tanking whatsoever unless you just flatten the lottery odds more. So, yeah, we got the Sixers and the rest of their lineup. They do play the Toronto Raptors. I hope they don't win that game. If they do win that game, now we'll be singing a different tune, but they're for sure not going to be able to beat the Knicks or the Bucks, the Timberwolves. They're probably going to lose to the Heat again. I don't even know what it is with the Sixers whenever they play the Miami Heat, but maybe it's like the jerseys or something, or like the logo. I don't know. But the Sixers just always get their shit kicked in. Or maybe it's that zone, Eric Spoelstra's zone. It doesn't matter who's on the court. The Sixers just get stumped by it. But it's not like I'm complaining at all, because the Sixers need to lose every single game possible. So them not making the playoffs, it's good because we finally get a chance to reflect, just take a break. It's going to be a really good playoffs, given with, the Lakers' resurgence and, the Nuggets. And then you got the OKC Thunder out in the Western Conference, Jokic and SGA and their MVP battle. We'll see what goes on over there. But in the Eastern Conference, too, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics, two really good teams. Now, we don't want the Celtics to win, but they're stacked, so we'll see what happens with them. I hope the Sixers end up emulating the Boston Celtics in some type of way. They broke the code, man. They broke the code when it came to shooting threes. The Warriors established it, but the Boston Celtics, I think they finally realized that, just got to shoot as many threes as possible and you'll win some basketball games. And Celtics fans look pretty happy with how their team has been performing these last couple of years, whereas with the Sixers, just year after year, it's heartbreak, thinking that we can build around a injury-prone center and that we can do something really meaningful in the playoffs and at least make it past the second round. They tried 7 times in a row and have not made the conference finals once, and I'm running out of things to just talk about. I'm glad that the Sixers have finally embraced this tank and that they can lose every game for the rest of the season, get that top 5 best lottery odds. They got like a over 63% chance of keeping their top 6 pick that way, and a 10% chance at getting the number 1 pick and being able to select Cooper Flagg himself. But that's pretty much all I got. I'm sorry that my video has been lagging a little bit. I don't know what's wrong with my recording software. I'm recording on a MacBook Air, so that's probably why, and OBS is a little bit too powerful, but I'll try and keep making videos for the rest of the season. Appreciate y'all for the support. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.